Ask Moms. As we always remind everyone, we are not professionals, right, Kim?
Yes.
But we can share our experience and remind you that
You're awesome.
If you feel the need for professional support, please reach out to a qualified medical expert. We talk all things motherhood, the good, the tough, and everything in between. And today, we have a special fun guest with us, Izzy De Silva. Welcome, Izzy.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And together we are going to explore how men and women, get this, often perceive each other differently. Imagine that.
What?
Without stereotyping, each comes with a built-in angle for thoughtful conversation. Did that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Okay.
So welcome back, Izzy. I think this is going to be both fun and really eye-opening. And as Kim said, navigating the colorful world of how partners see each other and can be like unraveling a delightful new mystery full of quirky moments and sometimes some fun little chuckles along the way. To give you all a sense of what we're going to be covering today, here are the 5 key areas we're going to explore with a little data and research sprinkled in for each one.
Okay.
First one is communication styles, like direct versus detailed, emotional expression, stoic versus sensitive, approaches to problem solving, social expectations and pressure, and confidence and competence perception. And Izzy, you are a natural and our favorite storyteller.
Oh,
Yes.
goodness.
So do you have a story about how men and women may unintentionally miscommunicate with each other?
So I've said many times, and we've had these conversations ourselves, that men and women, while we both speak English in this country anyway, we're not actually saying the same things.
Nope.
We just aren't.
Nope.
And it's the way we perceive what we're saying is what makes it completely different. I always tell a story about the information that we get and the information that's expected. And I remember an old story of going with my lovely wife to a relative's home, and she had to go pick something up, and I was there, and they're just meeting me, and they tell this story about how her relative had had a breakup. So their girlfriend that my wife really wanted to meet
Right.
was not going to be there. So I said, when my wife finally came back and we're having a conversation, I said, well, the girlfriend's not going to show up. They broke up. And my wife said, oh, my goodness, they broke up. I really wanted to meet her. Why did they break up? And, of course, as a man, I said, well, did they break up recently? I don't know.
And this is so important to us. We
Oh.
need to know.
Yeah.
She needs detail.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to have this emotional conversation with, a person I just met. Well, so tell me, how did it happen? Was it your
Right.
problem?
Right.
What dumb act did
Yes.
you do? No, I just can't. But I think the way we communicate is very different.
Yes.
Everything about it, the way. I always make the joke that women will look directly into each other's eyes and say, and this is that, and that happened, and that, and they have this communication.
Yeah.
Half the time, guys are side by side. We're looking out at something else.
So
yeah, look
true.
at that.
Yes.
The weather's better. Yeah, the weather's looking good.
Yeah.
Oh, did you make that fence? Let's go look at that fence. Right?
Yeah.
We're not really. We're giving out some information, but we're really not communicating as efficiently or the same way that women do.
Yeah.
There's my compliment
Yeah,
for this.
you're efficient. But like you said, just not the details,
The
the
details
stuff
aren't
like the
there.
how, why, what, where,
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
feeling how, and all this stuff. That's
Exactly.
stuff that we really want to know. Because maybe we can help somehow.
Exactly.
So there's also misinterpretation, though.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So here's like a story that I kind of thought was relevant because it kind of happens at my house. So you have a woman, she's sitting in a chair, and she says, it feels a little chilly in here, right? And then her husband says, yeah, winter's come in fast this year. So in her head, she's thinking, and then nothing happens, right? So she keeps waiting, and he's watching TV. He's like moved on.
Yeah.
And she finally gets up and walks over and turns up the thermostat, probably with a little bit of flair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he looks surprised, and he says, oh, did you want me to turn that up? And she says, what do you think I meant? So, we're not on the same page. She's anticipating that he's understanding that she wants him to turn up the thermostat. And honestly, I thought purposely he was not doing it just because he didn't want to turn it up, saving money. Like, I don't know, right? But realistically, there are people out there that just not on the same, they're thinking differently. So that's kind of what, prompted us to kind of talk about this today. Save your marriage.
So a point I have to make about this.
I was waiting for this.
2 against 1. Let's get them.
So we've heard this many times over our lives, and I've heard so many friends say this, and they're like, "Well, I thought he would have understood, or he should have expected." And this isn't an intelligence thing. It is, and all of us guys, when we get together, we always say, if she wanted a steak, she should have said, "I want to have a steak."
Yeah.
Not, "You order for me, whatever. I don't know what you want."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when someone is cold, without even thinking, if they would say, "Oh, it's a little cool in here. Could you turn up the thermostat?" "Oh, yeah, no problem. I'll go right over and do it."
Yeah.
This whole thing of, "Well, I would have expected you to understand." And this is my message to everyone. Don't expect it.
No.
Yeah. Well,
No,
that's
because and it's not that we don't care, and sometimes it might look like we don't,
Yeah.
and then sometimes we might not. Who knows? Like, I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
We're generalizing here.
Yes.
Yeah.
But for the most part, sometimes you just got to say exactly what you want.
Spell it
Yes.
It's like that old-fashioned saying, right, where they always say, "Oh, you should never expect that you're going to change a specific person." You should never expect that someone knows absolutely what's going on in your head, because you're the only one that knows what's
No,
going on
I
in your
know.
head.
They're not-
We're not even. We're even afraid to try to figure it out.
So what I'm hearing is you guys are not mind readers.
So we're gonna talk about 5 different areas. I think it's 5.
That's why we're doing this podcast.
Yes.
So good point.
Yes.
Right? This is kind of interesting. So the first area we're going to talk about is communication styles. So direct versus detailed. So guess who's who? Who do you think would be direct?
Oh, the men.
Oh, the man.
Yeah. And we're detailed.
Yeah.
4
words for the men. Done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exclamation
yours-
mark.
Absolutely.
And your
Yeah.
story is a perfect example.
Yeah.
What happened to them? Why aren't they together?
I don't know.
And you're like, I don't know.
Oh. It's true.
Yeah.
But and there might be also some sort of a, and I don't know if this is a bad thing. There also might be a something to be in the way we were brought up, that we're either afraid or embarrassed to speak of something that sensitive with a good friend. I don't know.
Or maybe lack of interest.
Well, that's possible too.
You know,
No, of course,
you
of
know,
course.
like-
But I think that we're not as. At least I can only speak for myself. I might not be as. I don't want to embarrass the other person. Maybe I'm the one who's embarrassed to ask a question that's too personal. Where I find that a lot of my female friends, they get right to it and they ask the question and they support each other properly. And that might be a problem with our communication. There, I've admitted it. No.
So, anyway, so the common perception is many women say men seem too direct or brief, and many men feel women just give too many details, like get to the point already.
Like after 6 seconds, they've lost track of what we're even saying.
Oh.
So spell it out quick
Yeah.
and then give details if we have to.
Yeah.
So are these differences societal or personality based?
I think they're both.
I do too.
I
Because
think they're both, because I mean, according to someone's where they were raised, you'll have cultural differences that'll affect how people act and how they
Yes.
communicate. That's
Yes.
one.
Yes.
And then, of course, it's also a personal thing, depending on. And this is going to sound strange, and I'm sure there's all sorts of studies that I'm not aware of. But where you are in the pecking order in your family, are you the baby? Are you the firstborn? Are you a middle child? How much did you get to talk while you were growing up?
Right.
How did things happen in your house? There's some homes that they never stop talking. Other homes, they're almost a silent home. So that will affect your personality and how you communicate with a partner or a friend later because of the way you were brought up.
That's
So
a
I think it's
really
both.
good point.
It is.
And that takes it away from gender.
That's right.
I think gender
Yeah.
has nothing. Yeah, it
Well,
doesn't really have
I
anything to
think
do
there's
with
a
it.
little bit of
There's a little
gender in
bit, yeah.
You know, and not stereotyping, but as I was going through this material, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I had so many similar, I could relate, basically.
Oh yeah.
But that's a really good point. So it's not necessarily always gender related. It could be, but it's not.
Yeah, I think there's just so many things that develop your personality and how you communicate.
Yeah. Okay, so evidence data. So, according to Rutgers Business Review, according to communication theory popularized by Deborah Tannen, men often use report talk to assert status, while women use rapport talk to build connection.
Yep.
Right? Research also shows men tend to speak in more abstract terms, existing in thought or as an idea, but not having a physical or concrete existence. I don't know if I agree with that. While women use more concrete relational language, this can affect how leadership or competence is perceived in organizations. I don't know if I believe that.
What was the question?
I know.
I do agree with the first part about the report versus rapport.
Yeah.
Because I think that I'm generalizing, but I think that female will build a relationship when they're having that conversation, and males are just taking inventory. That's that's like my joke about, a guy will go, "Is that a new fence? Yeah, I built a fence. Let's go take a look at the fence." It's about a specific topic where I've seen my wife talk to her friends, and there's 17 conversations in. They've talked about a lot of different stuff, and I'm like, "Would one of you like tea?" I mean, you know what I mean? They get to know each other well. They get their communication in a way that is most efficient. And us, we only start with small talk. How's the weather going? How's work? And that's all we ever do.
So I know experience in the corporate world, that does happen, right? Mm-hmm. So women tend to talk about the impact of different situations. Men have a goal, and it's like, this is what we're going to do to get there. I mean, women do that too, but it's more of a roundabout way. There's more of a conversation around it. And I think men are just a little bit more direct.
So do you think so you would say, to encapsulate what you just said, do you think it's women build relationships, men network?
I think they both network. I think it's slightly different how they go about it.
Yeah. And when I said network, of course they both network, but men are more to the point, meaning our relationship is because of this. I'm here because my wife told me we're coming over for dinner. We're building a fence together. Like, there's almost a goal where, I shouldn't say it that way because women do have goals, obviously, but it's just there's more of a understanding how you feel about it, and my opinion is this and whatever. Half the time I don't really care what someone's opinion is.
No.
I'm a guy, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's just our own opinion. And there's all kinds of differences out there, but I can relate to that.
I think I told you guys about, there's a show called Defending the Caveman that if it ever comes to town, you should go see it.
Oh, yes.
And that's one of the things, that's one of the humorous things he says. He says, this goes back to when we were cavemen, where all the cavemen would line up on the edge of a cliff, and they'd sit there quietly waiting for the woolly mammoth to come. One goal, they know exactly the one thing that they're going to do. And then he made this joke about where women, they'd be taking care of the children, they're farming, they're gathering, they're fixing things, they're doing all this. So that's why women are doing lots of different things, so they have to communicate differently, where men have to know how to sit there and be quiet and whatever. We always make that joke. It's like when you're sitting there watching a movie. I know in my house, we're sitting there watching a movie. I'm right into it, and my wife says, "Do you think he's the one who killed her? Let's continue watching." Well, do you think that was that her? I bet you she's the one who poisoned. Let's continue watching. So I'll be like silent, and she's having a conversation. She's going ahead in the movie.
Yeah.
You almost want to hit pause and say, "Okay, so any other things you want to talk about while we're here?"
Would you like to
save the peace
to write the next movie?
Right. Yes. Okay. Tell me when you're done, and then we'll continue with the movie. Number 2. This is emotional expression. So stoic versus sensitive. A common perception, not completely accurate with everybody.
No.
Women may interpret that men are more emotionally closed off, and men may perceive that women are more expressive or emotional. What do you guys think about this observation?
I think it's a generalization, but I tend to believe it's kind of accurate.
Yeah, like where would the expectations come from?
Personality, too. It depends a lot on if you're shy or introverted.
Yeah, like I don't know if the terminology emotionally closed off is
I
how I would express it. I think maybe they hold things more inside than
What about your age?
women.
Like, do you think that maybe the way, because I'm an older guy, the way I was raised, you were supposed to try to give everyone the perception that you were stronger, you had it under control, you had
Yeah.
so you're more emotionally cut off.
Yeah.
And as the different generations have changed, potentially, and I'm not sure of this, I don't study in this area, but maybe people now are better at showing their emotions, communicate differently, because who we're supposed to be, or this image we're supposed to have as men and women, maybe has changed.
Good point, because the men were always the ones who had to be the rock, the steadfast person, right?
Yeah.
That we all kind of clung to in an emergency or a bad situation or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So you guys couldn't show any weakness. We'd all kind of expect you guys to be the strong ones. But now I think it is changing a bit
Yeah.
that men can show their emotions and still be strong.
And women can be strong, but still have a heart. right?
Exactly, yes.
So maybe this type of podcast is designed more for us older people, because it might not be that relevant to younger. Like, what do you think? Like, I'm
don't know.
trying to think of the younger people that I know, and do they still have the same type of perception
It
of
might
men and
be
women?
different.
It might be different.
It might be different. Yeah, I mean, maybe the way we're looking at it, or how we're approaching it, is a little different because of our experiences. And maybe in some areas they've improved how they communicate, young people, but maybe in other areas they're lacking. Because I know that because of lack of technology and that sort of idea, I think we had to get out to meet other people and to do things together. And I think they're suffering a little bit now because of technology. A lot of people don't leave their homes.
Yeah.
So if you don't get a chance to practice your communication, how is it going to be affected? So I think they might have problems in a different area.
But
or
that
issues.
would be both genders. That wouldn't.
Oh, that would be both genders, absolutely.
You know what I see in a lot of movies, though, nowadays, that the young people are watching is that, the main male character, the strong, tough superhero, whatever, they cry. And that would have never happened years
Oh
ago.
gosh, no.
Yeah, that's so painful.
James T. Kirk would never cry.
That is so painful. We joke in our house about that because I miss the old villain, you know? The Darth Vader. What a marvelous villain.
Yes.
Never saw Darth cry. Could separate good from evil because evil is just evil.
True.
Now, every villain has a backstory and they're sensitive and they cry. And this is why I'm a villain. It drives me crazy. I want you to be a villain. I don't want to feel sorry for you.
I want the good guy to win.
I enjoy
yeah.
the good guy and the bad guy. And if the bad guy's got to win, I pound my fists on the table and talk about injustice of the villain winning. I don't want everyone to sort of be kind of the same, but no one gave me a basketball as a child. Like, come on. I didn't get a hug. No, I want you to be a villain. I got hugs, but I still want to do,
In the movie
Now
world,
you're a villain.
you don't want any feeling sorry for the bad guy.
Yeah, they're taking way too much. This is just the personal thing, obviously.
Yeah.
They're taking way too much time making everyone, pouty.
Pouty.
I want a good villain. I don't want a pouty villain.
A study did measure that the heart rate and self-reported arousal during emotional video clips found men sometimes had stronger physiological responses, but women reported higher expressivity, especially for negative emotions. Another study showed that women are not more expressive across all types of facial expressions. It depends on the emotion. So research is suggesting that the belief that women are emotional may be more about social norms than actual experience. The study found that men's daily emotional fluctuations are very similar to women's. So there's a lot that are just maybe kept inside,
Absolutely.
whereas ours are out there.
100% agree with you. I think probably are closer. I mean, we always make the joke. My wife will say, "Oh yeah," he'll watch some horrible, sad movie and he's fine, but they play the national anthem when a Canadian wins something in the Olympics, and he cries because the national anthem was on. Are you kidding me?
Absolutely.
And my dad did that too.
I do that.
So that
Yeah.
means that I think it means that we're closer than we want to admit, and maybe it's those social norms, like you were just saying, Kim, that we feel we have to
Be tough.
be a certain way, but maybe we're more similar than
Then
we'd like to admit.
Yeah.
We just let it out.
Yes,
Yes, you guys contain it.
Yeah.
which is
To be the strong one.
which is why we suffer so much from heart disease and hypertension. And anyway, sorry.
All right, let it out. Let it out, man. Everybody.
Ouch. You're healed. Okay, so approaches to problem solving.
Yes.
So the perception is that men often jump to finding solutions and women may want empathy or validation first. So I think that would depend on...
I disagree.
Oh, yay.
Pourquoi?
You do?
I have worked with a lot of people over my lifetime.
Yes.
And I shouldn't say it that way because now everyone who knows me is going to say, hey, is he talking about me?
Yeah.
I've worked with a lot of males who need a pat on the back,
Yeah.
right? It's like, hey, that was excellent. And if for whatever reason, if you're busy or whatever it was, and you don't give the proper whatever, they're almost insulted. It's like they didn't get that pat on the back. They need that pat on the back. Where women I've worked with, I mean, they appreciate, hey, that was a great job. But it doesn't have to be this whole, oh my goodness, I'm going to buy you a beer. Here's a pat on
Yeah.
the back. You
Yeah.
were so incredible. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Agreed.
They don't
They
need the
didn't sound-
validation as much.
They didn't sound very enthusiastic there either.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Maybe the problem's with me. No, probably not based in science, but I think the females in my life appreciate at least the acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to feel overlooked or like you're not appreciated. But I find that my male friends need more of the pat on the back, the validation that they did a good job.
To help us on this journey of understanding each other, we've got a few suggestions to help. These are some doable takeaways you can share or talk through. Hopefully will help you bridge these perception gaps. Ask and clarify, like we said. If somebody's being very direct or very vague, instead of assuming, ask, okay, do you want advice or do you just want me to listen? And be very careful with your tone here.
Yes.
That's important. Normalize your emotional check-ins. Encourage both men and women to share what's going on inside, not just the fix, but hey, how are you guys feeling too?
Yeah.
Acknowledge that.
That's important.
Yeah. And sharing that mental load, all those invisible tasks that we put on ourselves. Have conversations about the planning, the emotional labor, and who does what mentally. And if the other doesn't see the tasks, how can they help you if you don't share that, right? You're just getting all
100%.
mad and judgy. But if they don't know what your tasks are, then
Irritated.
yes. Beware of your delivery. So use your language consciously. Sometimes being clearer or softer help. Also, don't judge confidence solely by how it's expressed. And this is so true. Do you ever notice the ones who talk quietly are very confident and you pay attention so you don't have to be loud? The ones that yell, you don't even really hear what you're saying. You just feel like you're in trouble and so if the quiet talkers. Build empathy through stories. Invite people in your life to tell a time when they felt misunderstood and really listen to them. Ask them how they're doing now, because if you can relate, it really brings that message home.
Yeah. Thank you, Izzy, again for joining us today.
Yes.
And for all of you for tuning in. We hope this episode helps open your eyes, as it did ours, to a better understanding on how men and women see things differently sometimes. And there's no right or wrong, by the way, just different. Right? A better understanding leads to less frustration and hurt feelings.
Amen.
Amen.
That's so true. So people are like software updates. Whenever you think you got them figured out, they change.
Yes.
So don't be too hard on
Good
yourself.
one.
So that's a wrap today. We're always going to welcome your communication. So please connect with us at askmomstoday@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube, but also on Hunters Bay Radio 88.7 on the dial or www.muskokaradio.com. And as always, we hope we've helped you feel empowered, heard, and supported. And please remember, everybody, we know you're doing your best and you're not alone. So until next time, please take care of yourself and others when you can.
You've got this.